What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another How to Play here on the channel. Today, I want to talk about Rochester CCG's own Tim Keefe and his second place finish with a water Ibara Shiozaki deck. How awesome. What this video is going to do is we're going to talk about the deck list. We're going to have a quick little snapshot of the deck list while I talk about Ibara, and then we're going to talk a little more in depth about the strategies and tactics that exist inside of Water Ibara, and then at the very end we'll do a quick recap of looking at the deck list and seeing what are the cool pieces that I missed now that we have a better understanding of how the deck works. So Ibara is a 7-hand size 19 health character. We were playing under the water symbol that says this attack, mine or yours, is going to get -1 damage. But my next attack gets +3 damage. So if you net it out, the first one gets -1 damage. Every other move gets +2 damage, except for the last one, which gets +3 damage. Which is pretty impressive because she has an enhanced once per turn that says my next low attack ignores progressive difficulty. So I play out my big long string and I say, my next low ignores. I'll play this on a 4, on a 5, on a 6. I'll play the enhance on a 4. And you go, oh, wait a minute. Wow, you committed no resources for this, and it got big? Pretty impressive. Kind of a bit of an aggro character with a good amount of damage reduction on her face. So let's talk about the strategy of the deck. This character wants to play long, strong strings. How can I play 7 attacks? Easy. As well as low zone overload. It's very hard to interact with this character if you miss deck build and you're only if low blocks are the weakest zone, this character is just going to blow you out. You held a bunch of highs and mids. Well, the highs do nothing. The mids are fine, but you're still taking, a bunch of damage. And then lastly, if you have no lows, all your moves get +2, +2, +2, +2, +3. You died. And then a slight damage reduction on face mixed with the good solid water defense that her foundations give her. It is very hard for this 7-hand size 19 health character to die. And so her strings are really oppressive when she finds them, which gives her time in order to set up her defense, sets her up, and then her offense closes out the game. So let's talk about it. The big bombs. We've got Ice Storm. It's a powerful 3 low move that can't be blocked by attack cards. So even if you did hold the low block, it has to be a low block that's not orange, and giving +2 or +3 damage with the middle card Ibara is enough to make any attack scary. As well as Tongue Whip, which is the best attack in the deck, bar none. It's a 4 low for 5 that stuffs a card in the card pool and then gets damage equal to it. So it's a 5 low for 5 that gets more stats from Ibara, or it's the opener that puts a card in the card pool so that all your moves get a little faster because it's tougher for them to block. The deck flows has things like Piercing Thornlance and Invisible Infiltration as incredible low attacks that want to keep the flow of the deck. Piercing Thornlance being able to take low attacks and put them into the momentum so that the powerful ability on things like Ice Storm feels really, really strong. And then Invisible Infiltration, removing committed foundations and then re-readying them back up, whether they be flipped or whatever, feels good. As well as it's a 3 low for 5 that gets damage based on the cards that your opponent has and based on Ibara's own ability, which feels good. But the outlier of the deck's flow is Agile Drop. It's the top enhance is a little irrelevant. I mean, getting +1/+1 is a big deal. It's a 3 high for 5, 3 high for 7, maybe 8 in Ibara. But enhance discard 2 cards, choose 1 card in my card pool, add a copy of it from my discard pile to my hand. If I have that Tongue Whip, I go Tongue Whip, Agile Drop, discard these 2 foundations that aren't going to kill you, add another Tongue Whip. I play that Tongue Whip ignoring progressive. That kills pretty much anybody in the game. So this card just goes and finds you more copies of Tongue Whip at a sacrifice of losing cards out of your hand. On a little deck flow when it comes to foundations, we've got things like First Villain Encounter and Refreshing Slice. First Villain Encounter is saying that my next range this turn gets a little easier to play the longer the strings that I want to do. Normally, I would already be committing those resources because, you commit resources to past checks. But this is saying, hey, I'm going to commit this now and give this a little extra juice, as well as it's a Deadlock Enhance. The water symbol wants to can play a bit of a longer game, and so it's just more potent there. Same thing with Refreshing Slice, using things like Piercing Thornlance to put a card into my momentum. I can instantly spend that momentum on things like Refreshing Slice to re-ready it and essentially stun my opponent. And then the last card that I have on the screen is just Think Fast. When you see Ibara, you think lows. And so I'll play all my mids and highs, and I'll hold a bunch of low blocks. Well, if I have Think Fast on the board, and I have an overabundance of foundations, I can commit each foundation, make my low attack high. You weren't holding any highs. Not only that, but they also get +1/+1. And so this card makes my opponent go, oh, do I have to hold highs in order to make the deck work, and in order to survive? And the answer is maybe. It just depends on what you read in the situation. So there's a lot of cool tricks that Ibara gets to have. Not to mention all the amazing water defense that she gets. Ice gliding and stalking her prey being incredible speed hate of commit for -2 if blocked -1, or stalking her prey for flip -3 if you dare to increase yours. And then if you block a couple times, your opponent is still continuing their string. On the 3rd or greater, you can flip Struggling with Studies and pick it back up, as well as Struggling defends your other resources from being flipped and interacted with. Pretty good. And then the last thing that I have for disruption is just Irrefutable Force of Nature, a Refreshing Slice, and Nullify. Nullify, a card we haven't seen at all this entire tournament. Irrefutable Force of Nature, the Earth, Fire, Water, incredible. Being able to commit and get rid of that piece, point and click, as they say, is great. Refreshing Slice, being able to commit my opponent's cards on their turn, and Nullify says the word cancel. It can cancel non-character abilities, and it can response remove, cancel character abilities with the bottom response. Just an incredible idea. So now let's take a look at the deck list overall. So the attacks that I missed, right? The only one that I missed was Low Blow, which says if this one's not blocked, my opponent commits 2. Amazing opener. I play the Low Blow. I give it -1 damage, so it's like a 3 low for 2, and say if you don't block it, stun 2. It's also a 2 high block with Breaker 2. That feels very good. And then, I mean, let's just count the speed reduction. Surviving the Final, Ice Gliding, Sticky Ball, Stalking Her Prey, Desperate Struggle, all of that. Hey, knock it off. Speed is not an issue, because as a 7 hand size 19 health character, you gotta have resources in order to block. And then you've got a bunch of really cool offensive abilities, things like basic training and feeling cute, frozen in order to help commit more foundations, things like observant student to draw to know what your checks are as you're going. Deck feels very cool. So again, big shout outs to Tim Keefe from Rochester CCG for his second place finish at the Kansas City RLE. If you that's so funny. If you can tell I did the 3rd place one first. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, let me know down in the comments down below. If not, and you don't like my spelling, I guess we'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys. I wish you well.